It very well could have been a scene out of a movie.
A very dangerous situation at Pasquotank Correctional Center in Elizabeth City. Inmates set a fire in a prison break attempt.
Tonight we know that no inmates escaped, but 2 prison workers were killed and several others were injured. Robert Boyd has been following this situation. He's live in Elizabeth City tonight with the latest.
Well, David and Regina, what a sad and bizarre day out here at the prison. Of course, we know, unfortunately, the 2 employees here lost their lives today. But there are also multiple reports from both law enforcement and the community that at least 1 prisoner had escaped and was somewhere on the loose. Schools, homes, businesses were all put on lockdown. Police told us it was unsafe for the public or media to be anywhere near the prison. And then hours later, we find out that apparently it was all just a false alarm. Pasquotank Correctional Institute was the center of destruction and confusion Thursday after inmates intentionally started a fire in the prison sewing plant.
We do have a mass casualty incident. I have multiple patients. Some of them are critical.
At the time, there were about 30 inmates inside the sewing plant, but it was the employees that suffered the most injuries.
An officer struck multiple times with a hammer.
The focus then shifted to the inmates that may have escaped. There were reports of prisoners even hiding in the surrounding woods.
I'm going to have several walking wounded. We need to clear some beds.
Law enforcement scoured the neighborhood around the prison looking for the inmates. Local resident Demetrius Washington says a prison break has always been his worst nightmare.
Terrified because since I moved out here, I always know the prison was back there, so that's like something in the back of your mind.
Washington has 4 young children. He immediately locked them inside the house. Does this make you ever think about moving?
Yes, my wife, that's all she's talking about right now. And she ready to move.
Washington's 13-year-old son was on the bus on his way home from school when he heard the news.
There was a superintendent on our bus, and she had stopped us for a second because she had to send this radio thing out to the other buses telling them to go back to school.
Police were so convinced there was an escape, they told businesses more than 6 miles away, like Wendy's and Captain D's, to go on lockdown.
Police came by and said that one of the inmates had got loose behind the food line here, so they was telling us we might need to lock our doors.
Manager Charlie Snowden said he immediately thought about the safety of his employees and customers.
They was kind of scared, like I said, ready to go, just ready to leave because they didn't know what was going on.
To make things even more stressful, Charlie has an uncle who works at the prison.
But he was okay. I found out he was okay. He got a couple of scratches, but he's okay.
Now, I did speak with the Pasquotank sheriff just a few minutes ago off camera, and he did acknowledge there was some confusion today. He said they got some calls at their dispatch center of people who thought they saw inmates on the loose, and it turned out to be, once they followed those leads up, that they weren't inmates. And he did apologize for any confusion or any scares he may have given people, but they were just doing their best and obviously making sure everyone was safe during this difficult time. He also wanted to reiterate that tonight there are 725 inmates in this prison. That's how many there should be, 725. Everyone is accounted for as of right now. Live in Pasquotank County, Robert Boyd, 13 News Now.
Tonight, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper released a statement saying those who work in our prisons do a difficult and demanding job that is critical to our safety. We're grateful to these fallen prison employees for their service.
We're told 10 patients are in the hospital tonight. Chanu Hur is live outside Sentara Norfolk General Hospital with that part of the story. Chanu.
Well, David, tonight there are several people who were injured from that attempted escape here at Sentara Norfolk. In total, 10 people were injured. Sentara Healthcare said they received 10 patients. 3 of them are here at Sentara Norfolk. The rest are at Sentara Albemarle. We did see 1 patient flown in here earlier today when we were here. We learned not long ago, like you guys mentioned earlier, that 2 people have died, and both of those are prison employees. The rest injured. It's still unknown if they were employees, inmates, or a mixture of both. Right now, the conditions of the other people are unknown at this time, but we do want to get out there so that you all know at home. Any family or friends who want to visit any of these patients in the hospital, officials say you must have a government-issued ID and also know the full name of the patients. Now, we are expecting more updates and more information on this tomorrow morning or sometime soon. We'll be sure to keep you updated right here on 13 News Now and 13newsnow.com. Of course, as we get that information in as soon as we can, we'll get that out there. Live in Norfolk, Chanu Hur, 13 News Now.
All right, we checked with the FBI locally to see if their agents played a role in the investigation. We were told local agents did head to the scene, but only in a support role. North Carolina authorities have the lead. We also talked to a retired FBI agent about the response that likely ensued in that prison after the fires and the chaos.
And how do you protect the staff and the guards who are trying to put the fire out with the firemen, and at the same time protect the prisoners who are not involved in that fire, and then apprehend the prisoners who did set the fire, and God knows what weapons they may have.
Okay, some more background on the Pasquotank Correctional Institution. It's a high-security prison for men. There is a perimeter fence with a built-in electronic intrusion detection system. The facility can hold nearly 900 inmates. We're told today's inmate count, as Robert just mentioned, 725, and the staff size is 410.
As we reported, the fires that set off the prison break attempt were set in the sewing plant. We learned Correction Enterprises operates that sewing plant on site. About 30 inmates work there, making embroidered logo items and safety vests. According to the company's website, their mission is to teach inmates marketable job skills so that inmates have an easier transition and more opportunities once they are released. We will, of course, continue to bring you updates on this investigation.